Top of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Terence Bud Crawford. Get this, Terence Crawford on the Spence clash. He says, I feel like this is the biggest fight of the decade. After laying waste to his competition at both 135 and 140, Terence Crawford has continued his run of dominance in the welterweight division. But while the Omaha, Nebraska native has racked up numerous pulverizing performances, his name has been still linked to the current unified champion, Errol Spence, with both men desperate to reign supreme as the division's lone undisputed titleist. The pair are attempting to put together a long-awaited showdown. Although they have made progress during negotiations, according to Mike Coppinger, ESPN talks have hit a distinct wall as Crawford has requested full financial transparency. As the boxing world continues to exhibit patience, Crawford is fully aware that the showdown against Spence would capture the imagination of countless fans around the globe. He said, well, this is a big fight for not only myself, but for him too. Crawford said. He said, I feel like this is the biggest fight of the decade. You got two American fighters that's undefeated, that's considered top 5 in the pound-for-pound list, both in their prime. What more can you ask for? Spence was last seen violently ripping away at the WBA welterweight titleist Yordenis Ugas. The two would clash in their sports event spot at AT&T Stadium at Arlington, Texas. A calculated Spence fought Ugas on even terms through the first few rounds, and Spence, of course, was hurt, then came back and pulverized Ugas for hurting him, I assume. So, when they asked Terence Crawford, when will the fight get done, he says soon, hopefully soon. Let me counterpunch. This fight is a huge fight. It's a huge fight, but I think, unfortunately, it's probably one of the biggest fights that will never happen. And when it will, it won't happen when it needs to happen. It needs to happen right now. So, because it's not happening right now, because it's not happening this year, it's not going to be a big fight for Terence Crawford. It's going to be a better fight for Errol Spence. It will still be a big fight, but I think the powers that be are stopping this fight from happening right now, because I think they would rather bank on Errol Spence since he is a game player, since he is a true PBC, Fox, Showtime, Al Heyman disciple, and not a foreign outsider that just came into the game of that particular platform and network and promotional company outfit like Terence Crawford has. And because of that, I think they want to make sure Errol Spence has all the type of capabilities and concessions as possible, okay? And the fight is the biggest fight on the decade due to skill, okay? And the welterweight division, along with the network, is rumored to have financial problems. And I think because of that, they don't want to put all their eggs in one basket, okay? And then if they do, if they're going to bet on Spence, they make sure Spence is going to win. You know, I think Al Heyman is good at that. He would like to see a better odds fight for his particular guy that he's vouching for to win, which is Errol Spence, rather than have a even duel between two guys that could possibly beat each other. Okay, so he would favor one over the other, and I believe, because one, of course, like Terence Crawford, he's accustomed to a certain amount of money, whereas the PBC guys, they really much take what they're given. And because they take what's given, they put everything on pay-per-view. There's really no reason for those guys to lash back out, because the pay-per-view is basically set on their own financial popularity and marquee value. Okay, and because of that, they don't really they're not left holding the blame for why they're not making the money that they should. Okay, so I see what they're doing over there on the PBC. I do think it's unfair for guys like Floyd Mayweather, that's been retired since 2017, to really still be getting $20 million. You might call me a hater, but I'm not hating. I'm trying to participate with the other guy's salary. because that's the holdup. They want more money. They want this. They want that. They want, they want these type of things because they're not getting paid like they should. Both of those guys should get 10 million apiece. Easy. At least 7 million to 11 million. But they're not getting it because the money's not there. Okay. If the money was there, I don't think that they would have that type of problem. But again, if the money is, if the lion's share is going to go to anybody, it would be the winner. Because if Errol Spence beats Terence Crawford convincingly, there may not be argue or an uproar or a desire for a rematch anyhow. Okay, so you have to take all that into consideration when dealing with Al Heyman. Sure, he could fork the money if he could afford to. But who says he would want to if it's an even fight, if his fighter loses? If his fighter loses, it's like, okay, well, my investment and my buildup has went down the drain by a guy that came from ESPN and came and took over the whole show. Now, what are we going to do with him if we can't market him like we could market Errol Spence? Counterpunch. And then, of course, think of it in the long run. If Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence, then what happens? Then he's going to want him. He's going to want to demand more money when he doesn't get it, like he got at Bob Arum. It's hard for him to renege, but then it only makes him do what? Well, it makes him resent the promotional company, the promotional outfit, like Al Heyman, and then he'll give them a bad name because he's not accustomed to those type of degrading or downgrading circumstances. So it's a lot that can happen. It's a lot you put into a certain fight like that. So when I look at and I think of Terence Crawford taking on Errol Spence, I think of the biggest fight as of right now that didn't happen. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Terence Crawford saying that this is the biggest fight of the decade between himself and Errol Spence. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.